Hi there. So it all started in February 2025. I had known what one of these Rubik's Cube is for years, and I'd always wanted to solve one. And I was vaguely aware that there was a thing called speed solving where people solve them as fast as they can at competitions, but I didn't know much about it. Anyways, one day in February 2025, I was bored, and I fell into an internet rabbit hole, as one does, and it was all about speed solving. So what followed was me spending hours and hours and days and weeks watching YouTube videos, reading stuff, and watching the Speedcuber documentary, among other things, and learning about the world of speedcubing. And then, through that research, I found out that there was a Rubik's Cube competition 2 miles from my house. So in March 2025, I didn't even know how to solve a cube. I went to that competition just to watch, just to see it. And I ended up getting roped in to volunteer, and I really enjoyed the competition experience. Bought a cube, and I tried to teach myself how to learn, and I kept failing, but I went to multiple competitions, and I really enjoyed myself. And so finally, in July 2025, after going to like 4 competitions, seeing how it worked, learning all about it, trying, failing, procrastinating, I finally learned how to solve a Rubik's Cube. And in August 2025, I went to my very first competition as a competitor. And then since then, I've actually learned how to solve 6 different WCA, which is World Cube Association, puzzles. I've been to 11 competitions, and I have no signs of slowing down this hobby. So I just want to share some insights and things that I've learned from this hobby of solving a Rubik's Cube fast in competition, dedicating time to it, that I've learned that I think relate to bigger areas of my life than just solving a puzzle. So the very first thing I learned, and I think I've realized, is that anyone can do hard things. So when I first started, I thought solving a Rubik's Cube is impossible. And for years, I would say things like, oh, my brain doesn't work like that. I can't. And when I started doing this in real life and showing people I could solve a cube, even my own parents have literally said, my brain doesn't work like this. I could never. That seems impossible. And, all those people that have said that, they have one thing in common. They've literally never tried. Maybe they tried for like 5 minutes and gave up, but they've never actually put in the work and dedication to try. And so I'm just thinking there are so many things in life. You see people who can do things that you can't, like running a marathon or doing any sport at a good level, any artist, musician, and you're like, I could never, that's too hard. But I think the truth is that we're all capable of more than we think. And with a little bit of hard work, dedication, persistence, and just slowing down, breaking things into small parts, it can be possible. Just to prove a point, actually, my sister, my brother, and my best friend all knew nothing about Rubik's Cubes, and I have all taught all 3 of them how to solve a Rubik's Cube. Yeah, a few months after I learned, I was able to teach others, and they learned successfully. And I don't think any of them are mega geniuses. So I just wanted to prove that, it is possible, and we can do a lot more than we think. So that's the first thing. The second thing I learned is the power of tangible progress. So here's the thing. A lot of things in life, I feel like I get stuck because I can't see progress. For example, I moved back in with my parents 2 years ago, and I've been wanting to move out ever since. And I don't feel like I'm making progress towards moving out, even if I am. Like things like saving money and whatnot. I just don't really feel like I can see tangible progress towards that goal. But with cubing, it is very cool because I can actually see the progress. For example, when I first started, my times, a minute 30 was like my best time ever. And that was insane. And that was lucky. And then when I got better, it was like, okay, a minute 30 is an average time. Minute 30 is okay. And now a minute 30 seconds is a really bad time. So the other day I got a minute 30 second when I was practicing. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's really bad. And I was like, oh my gosh, remember when a minute 30 was my best time ever? I can see the progress. The results are there. There's proof. It's tangible. I can see it. I can feel it. And so just seeing that progress is something that really motivates me in cubing and has really made me think that maybe there's a lot of other areas in my life where there is progress. I just need to look harder for it. And it's just given me a lot to think about in that area. And I think that's one reason why people like cubing is just being able to have your times go down and learning and seeing where you can take this. The next thing is the power of discipline. So, and just habit building. So I am unemployed right now. I'm between jobs. I've been unemployed for a few weeks, and it's been hard for me to build healthy habits. It's always been like that my whole life. And I've never really had a hobby in a long time where I've had to like put forth effort to like continually practice and improve. Like I like playing board games, riding my bike, listening to audiobooks, just stuff like that. That's just like more like you can just do it and it's like whatever. But when I was like a kid, I played a musical instrument. I played clarinet, and it was like you had to practice every day to get better. And I think it's really cool to have that discipline and be like, okay, I'm going to practice 5 minutes a day on cubing, 10 minutes a day on cubing, whatever. And to be able to like have that discipline and habit, it's made me think about like what other habits I can implement. Like I've read a lot of books about habits, and they always say like, if you want to become a runner, you don't start off by saying, I'm going to run a marathon today. You're going to like, okay, I'm going to run around the block. You got to start small. And so it's like, if I can start small and be like, okay, I can solve a Rubik's Cube and do 5 minutes worth of solves today, then like I can work that up to being like, okay, I'm going to spend 3 hours applying for jobs today, because I can do it. I can build discipline and habits. It just takes time. And so just really thinking about like discipline and habits is really something that cubing has taught me, and I really want to continue to implement that in other parts of my life to have better habits and better discipline overall, not just in cubing. Another thing it's taught me is a learning mindset and the feeling of being bad at something. So I actually have worked with kids in schools, and I've noticed that kids learn a lot. Like kids, they don't know anything. They don't know how to read, and they learn to read. They don't know how to do math, and they learn math. There's so many things where they like literally know nothing, and they learn about it. But as adults, there's less and less opportunities for that. And when you have those opportunities, you can just like avoid them. Whereas in school, you kind of have to. And so having that school mindset and having that learning mindset is really, really cool. I really love the fact that I went from not knowing how to solve a cube at all to like knowing how to solve it, to knowing faster, to knowing more algorithms and more puzzles. And it's really made me think about like what more I want to learn next. Not even just in cubing. Like there's so many things I want to learn now, and like how many of them are possible, and just like getting in that mindset of wanting to learn something new and not feeling stuck in life and not feeling like this is all there is. It's just so cool and such a great feeling, and I just love that. And the final thing that cubing has taught me that I want to share in this video is the power of perspective, who you surround yourself with, and mindset. So this is kind of crazy. So when I take this cube and I've gone out in real life and I've shown this to other people who are not cubers, they have called me things like a genius. And someone said I have a special gift for cubing. They have told me some insane compliments because I can solve a Rubik's Cube in like a minute, 30 seconds, right? Now, I took that same cube, same me, same times. I go to a Rubik's Cube competition, and you know what happens? I get last place. So, on one hand, I could take their comments about me being a mega genius and special and take that to heart and think I am so great. But that is not healthy, of course. And then on the other hand, I could take that message of me being last place and every single person at the competition being better than me, having better times, and nobody being impressed at all, the fact that I can solve a Rubik's Cube, because they all can too, to heart, and just think that I'm not good enough and I'm a failure. And neither of those things are healthy, right? And I personally believe as a Christian, you should get your value from God, and that's where it should come from. But we are influenced by other people, and we have to be careful about like where we get our worth from and how we frame it. So both things can be true. Like I can be smart, maybe not a mega genius, but I can be a smart person, and maybe I'm not the worst in the world, but I can have room to improve. So instead of framing it like I'm a mega genius or I'm the worst person at cubing, I can frame it as I am a smart person who has room to grow and improve at cubing. And just framing it with a healthy mindset of not feeling like a failure, but also not letting the compliments inflate my ego and make me think that I'm really great. So that is something that cubing has really made me reflect. And it's also just interesting that like the dichotomy between those two crazy opposite reactions with the same skill and same hobby. So it really is about the perspective that you put yourself in and the people you surround yourself around. So that's just a handful of things that cubing has taught me. It's actually taught me a lot more about my brain and how I learn, and the process of improving, and just other things too. But I don't feel like getting into all of that. I just wanted to share. I just am really appreciative of the cubing community and all the friends and great people I've met along the way and the experiences I've had. and I hope to continue to do so. And if you don't know how to solve a cube, I highly recommend you learn. And if there's anything else in your life that you feel like is impossible and hard to do, I highly recommend you just put in the discipline and hard work and try, and you'll never know where it takes you. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.